In 3, 2, 1, action.
When I hear Labyrinth, I think really of my experience making the film, which was really extraordinary. It made a big impression on me personally. It was a really wonderful shoot. We filmed in London. It may have been the first time that I had ever been to London, and certainly the first time that I spent any significant amount of time there. I just loved Jim, and the whole experience was it's like a wonderland.
That film was particularly fun for me to work with my father. When I finished school, I decided to do movies for other people, so I worked on other films, 3 or 4 in a row. And then I came back and did Labyrinth with my dad, and it was fun being on set with my father, but I also was a legitimate member of the British film industry, working with my father as a colleague and supporting him. My dad was a crazy workaholic that could accomplish an enormous amount in a very short amount of time. He's also very detail-oriented, so we would all get caught up on getting that little eyeball plant to look just exactly right for that moment where the camera finishes on it. He used to always say was his favorite times in life would be when you're shooting like with the Muppets and everybody just starts laughing and you can't finish the take because you're all just laughing so hard. And he used to say that even those were failed takes, those were always the most fun he would have at work.
He did direct it himself as opposed to co-directing with someone else. And it was a completely original film. So as opposed to being the second Muppet movie or the sequel to something, it was completely original, and he worked on every aspect of developing it himself.
As much as he loved Dark Crystal, he was missing the funny. He was missing some of the fun of the Muppets and the idea of and the music and the singing and the dancing. So I think that he was kind of bringing it all together with Labyrinth to try to get the best of all worlds put together.
He was so enormously talented. He was a marvel. He was so gentle. He was so patient. Speak of patience, he was so patient with me.
I felt so strange because the rest of the people in the ballroom were all sort of professional dancers and everything, and here I was, this kid who's never danced before in her life.
This huge production that I was kind of in the middle of, and I had no idea what I was doing. And he was, just supportive with me and kind to me.
When you're casting a part like Sarah, which is the part in the film, you hope someone walks in the door and is the right person. And when Jenny walked in, she was the right person. And it was one of those great little moments. She did a wonderful reading, and she's a bright, intelligent actress who takes direction well, and everything was just right.
Jennifer was just kind of, for me, was just like having a kid sister on set. And that's kind of the way I remember it. There was so much stuff, complicated stuff to do with Hoggle, with her, and she had to be so patient. And I just remember having a very comfortable and kind of delightful relationship with Jennifer. She was just always there.
I found I could talk very straight to her. We'd talk about her performance. I didn't have to tiptoe around her feelings or anything like that. She could talk, just as an adult.
Dozy, isn't it?
Labyrinth. For many people, it was the first glimpse of this wonderful art form called puppetry.
I mean, working with puppets had presented its own challenges, but really, for me, it was just wonderful. It was just, I was the perfect age for it. I was 14, and I was just kind of flabbergasted at what these people were doing and the choreography that it took, the way that they worked together. And I can't really say it was difficult for me. It must have been very difficult for them, and it was amazing to see how they accomplished that.
It was an intense period of time, it was a creative period of time, and there are really excellent artists involved throughout. I remember being down under the set for the Dance Magic dance, and I was puppeteering one of the goblins. It was almost like we had our own little labyrinth underneath the set.
The sets were beautiful, big, vast, elaborate sets. It was magical. I particularly loved the physical component of it, where there was wire work. I don't know why. To me, it was so much fun. And there were a few sequences like that. There was a dream sequence where I come crashing down. There's an area where I'm in this, like, a woman who's collecting junk.
Ah, get off my back! Why don't you look where you're going, young woman?
Also in this, like, a tunnel of hands, the helping hands.
Stop it! Help!
What do you mean, help? We are helping.
We're helping hands.
It was Terry Jones' idea. It wasn't my dad's idea. And he just put it in the script, and my dad read it and was like, wow, Brian, can we do this? And my dad and I spent hours in front of a mirror figuring out how many faces we thought we could do.
When you have those fabulous faces made just out of hands, and then having the hands come together and talk and to become characters, that was really exciting.
And so we figured out that we'd have to put these lying boards. We had to lie people up against the wall and then reaching forward, but you can't reach past your head, so everybody has to lie sort of slightly up and then reaching forward. So if you went behind the shaft of hands, you'd see these boards like this with people lying on every board. And we put Jennifer up, and she was in a harness in the middle. And then there's, 60 hands or something around. And my dad starts to try to direct the hands. And he's like, okay, let me see the hands to Jennifer's left, make a face. And then all these hands would start, and he'd go, no, not that hand, no, not that hand. The hand that's moving, stop moving. No, okay, now one of the hands moved. And I just remember all of us going, wow, this we didn't anticipate that it would be impossible to direct the hand.
One, drop.
It was so elaborate. I was so ticklish, and it was coming down, all these hands were reaching out. But all of that stuff, I don't know why, but I found it so much fun. It was like being in an amusement park, like these amazing rides that no one else got to experience.
You don't by any chance know the way through this labyrinth, do you?
Oh, me? Nah, I'm just a worm.
My mom used to say that the Labyrinth was the most personal of my father's projects, that he was telling a story that he felt that he knew. And I don't really know that I know everything about what she meant when she said that, but I do feel like this film has a truth to it.
I've always remembered Jim talking about how much he loved Labyrinth.
It's a nice one.
How he was thrilled with the stars of the movie and how wonderful it was to work on the production.
I felt probably closest to my father in my whole life was while we were making that movie, because suddenly my relationship with him developed more layers to it. And I think he would have been really pleased to see the lasting success of Labyrinth. That it is now known to be one of the most successful fantasy movies ever made.
And 3, 2, 1, action!
I really adored him. I adored working with him. I adored being part of it, watching what he was doing and his whole team was doing. It was really something to behold.
And cut him. Good. Good. Nice.